So welcome back to the Rod Shop channel here with Saxy Rod Shop. So start off this video, we just wanted to touch base on the 57 Chevy pickup we got going on here. We've got the cab off of it, as you can see. We're getting ready to turn it upside down and do some finish welding on that. But in the meantime, while we had the cab off the frame, we're doing some final welding on here. We've come in and finished mounting the e-stop. This is an electric parking brake system. You can see here we've ran it. This is the Roadster Shop chassis. We've ran it through, over. We still got to cut them to length. We don't have the brakes on here right now, so we won't finish that up until we get the brakes back on it. We've made our own stands here because this has a 3-inch raised floor on the bed, and it's a Marquee bed kit with the raised floor. So we've made our own stands to raise it up a little bit instead of just using the wood spacers. Got that done. Provisions back here for the gas tank. You can see here where he's got it marked. We're going to have to do a little clearancing on the frame rail for some exhaust clearance. He'll finish cutting this out once we get the frame disassembled and turned over, and we'll box that back in on both sides. That'll be for exhaust clearance. Got our Inland Empire aluminum dry shaft in there. Got the Borgeson U-joints in place, and we've gone all stainless on those. And you can see here, we've got the Hydra Boost. We've started using the Hydra Boost. Now, we like to use the Hydratech brand Hydra Boost. We've had very good luck with them over the years. And this will be all the lines, and they'll get routed up here nice and neat for the final assembly. Over here on the other side, we got the battery mounted to the frame. We drilled and welded some nuts in the frame, so the battery will hang off here below the bed, like so, off the frame, out of the way, give us plenty of ground clearance. We have that going on. So once we get the final things done to the frame, this will start coming apart, and it'll go off for powder coating, and probably 2 or 3 weeks after that, and then we'll get it back and start doing some final assembly. In the meantime, he'll be doing the final welding on the bed, on the cab, do all that underneath it. We'll get that sandblasted, and that'll go into body and paint and get rocking and rolling on that. So that's kind of where we are on the 57 Chevy pickup at the moment, and thanks for following along. So we're working on the deck lid cover for the 55 here, and we have a spare deck lid, which helps if you have something like this, because the car came in painted, so you can be rough and tumble with this. So what we did is we made an inner skin and located all of our speaker pods, and this one's going to get a 24-inch flat screen TV in the deck lid also. And we've prepped the perimeter of this skin with some wood around it. And what I'm actually doing now is stapling some fleece, and we're stretching it. So this is the perimeter of the TV. You can see here some of the speaker pods. There's another one up here, right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple this around my perimeter and get it stretched. And you'll see that when you do that, it takes on a nice curved 3-dimensional look. And then we'll come in and staple it around these speakers also, and that'll give us a nice flow. And then we'll do all that. Then we're going to come in and we'll use some of our Sun Flash fiberglass resin, which is a UV activated resin, and we'll saturate this. Saturate it enough that it soaks completely through. We'll let it cure for 2 or 3 days now that it's getting cooler. We'll start off with our UV black lights and get it kicked off and activated. Then if we have a good sunny day, even though it's kind of cool, we'll set it outside and let the sun finish curing it. So that's what we're doing right now, is I'm stretching all this around, getting it shape, getting it ready, and then we'll fiberglass it, and then we'll trim out all of our holes, and then we'll do a check fit against the actual deck lid that's going on. We shouldn't have any major issue there, but there's always a chance. And then we'll locate all the holes for the wiring in this based off of where it is on the deck lid up there. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. So as we talked earlier, we got the fleece all stapled on and stretched around the framework, as you can see, around the speakers and all that. So now what we're doing is we're using this Sunflash UV activated fiberglass resin, and we're saturating the fleece, and then we'll slide this thing outside in the sun. Even though it's kind of cool today, the sun will activate it and kick it off. And after that, we will trim it up and sand the edges. And then I'm actually going to also put some a thin coat or a layer of fiberglass cloth on it to give it a little additional strength. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. So we're just getting it good and saturated, an even build of a resin, and then go from there. So we got the deck lid resined, as we talked about, and then we set it outside. And I had in the back of my mind there was the chance always of a little drawing up when it cured, and naturally it did. While we were gone to lunch, what had happened, we got a heat lamp going here, it actually bowed all this up and popped our clips and everything out. So what we've done is I've come in and put some screws in it to pull it back down slowly, and we have this heat lamp relaxing all of this, and we're going to leave that heat lamp on it till the end of the day. We'll let it cool overnight, and then probably put the heat lamp on it again a couple more times. It did it there across the back and a little bit right in here, so you can see here how it's pulled up away from our deck lid. We'll heat this area up. And fiberglass is always moving, it's continuously moving. So we can heat this all up, pull it back into place, and then take the heat away from it and let it cool while it's clamped in place. And then we should be good enough to go. And then once it's actually on the car and finished out, and like I said, we're still gonna come in and put a layer of fiberglass cloth on it too. But once it's actually on the car and in place and in the trunk and out of the heat on a regular basis, that shouldn't be an issue anymore. So that's just kind of the reality of it. Sometimes the best laid plans of, what's that saying? Best laid plans sometimes go awry or whatever. So we're going to heat all this area up, relax it, and then probably do that 2 or 3 times till we get it back on there. But the actual glass itself turned out pretty nice. It's going to be plenty strong. So that's where we are on that. So here on the 56, we're doing some final fitting on our aluminum main panels for our door panels. I like to use the 40 thousandths aluminum, and we'll get all this pre-fit and pre-trimmed for clearance and stuff like that, and then we'll figure out how we're going to attach it, work on our design layout, and that'll help us determine where the attachment points will be. The quarter panels, you can see here, we've got some of the rear quarter panels mocked up. They're all also out of aluminum. We're fitting those on that, getting back on this one pretty good. So here on the C10 bed, you can see Brandon's got this slight inner tub formed. He made this one main panel and then made a perimeter piece here, and this has actually got just a small cavity in between the two to give us as much tire clearance as possible. And then he's got this front panel here done, and he's going to weld all this in, come in and finish the back panel, and then we'll finish the other side. So we'll be done with this one in early to mid next week. This is actually going to turn out pretty nice, really nice. Quick little update on the Chevy 2. We talked earlier about he was wanting us to do a front brake upgrade, so we got that all done, and it was having some steering arm issues. And what had happened is the steering arms that we actually used on the car were meant for a Heim joint type setup versus a tapered tie rod, and somebody had put a tapered tie rod on it, and the hole in the steering arm and the taper of the tie rod end didn't match. It wallered it out and had a lot of play in it. So we actually went with some ends for the rack and pinion that are meant to work with the steering arms. So we got that done, got the brakes finished and all bled, And then we also just put in a e-stop electric parking brake system. And you'll have to crawl up under there on that side and kind of see how we mounted it. But it's just a push button, and there's actually a hidden switch up under the dash here, just up under here. Push that button, it activates. It goes till it sets itself at a certain tension, and then when you push the button again, it automatically will release. So that's kind of where we are on that. All right, so just push it. So it goes till it activates. And then you just push it again. Yeah, I might would want that. So on the truck, we've got the gas tank back in. You have to wait till it's lifted up. Got the column mocked up, the lower mount, the upper mount. He's got the new gauges in it. I think he's got power to those. If you can see this. No, he's got it disconnected again. Got those all hooked up and wired and tested, so we know all of that's working. And we'll just be moving on to the next thing on this one. But that's kind of where we are at the moment on the truck. So we talked earlier about this little Dakota pickup that came in. And this was actually started in another shop several years ago. I know there's a release under here. And he's been on our waiting list for a while. But so we're going to end up finishing this and making a nice little sleeper. And you can see here what was started. This is a little 88 Dodge Dakota pickup. And it's been sitting for a while, so we got to come in and clean all this up, power wash it, and get all that done. But it's got a 6.1 Hemi in it with an automatic. So we're going to beef up the rear end. And you can see one of the things they've had to do here, and I'm going to visit with the customer. It's got such a large brake booster on it, they've actually offset the motor to clear the coil packs on the valve covers. We're going to look at maybe going to a Hydro Boost brake system because it's got power steering, so it's got everything that it needs. We can go to the Hydro Boost brake system and gain some clearance, because right now, if you had to change that plug, you can't get that out because the booster's in the way. You'd have to pull the booster loose to get to it. But you can see it's been setting its spider webs and rat crap, everything, all that on it. But so this is a project that's here now, and as soon as we get it cleaned up and get it in the building, we'll be getting started on this one. Looking forward to this. This will be a fun project. That's a little bit about what's going on, update some of the stuff around the shop. We got a few other projects scheduled to come in as soon as we get one of these other cars out. And we want to thank you for joining our channel, the Rod Shop channel here with Saxy Rod Shop, and liking and subscribing to the channels. All that support helps. We're going to be working on some, we're trying to get the catalog up to date and working, so be on the lookout for a notification on that. We also are working on some new t-shirt designs, maybe some hats, so hopefully in the next month or so we'll have all that done and coming out on that. So again, we appreciate you. Enjoy the comments and the support, and everybody have a good weekend. Thank you.